Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammed Fahim, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammed Fahim.
Folks, good morning. We are on live on Facebook today, and we'll be joined up by WCPT. They're having some technical difficulties. I'm your host, Mohammed Fahim. We come live on Facebook, and we come live on WCPT and the Heartland Signal every Sunday morning. Today, I wanted to just go ahead and get started with my rant, which I do every Sunday. And before I do that, let me introduce you to Dr. Sheila White. She is our producer for our Person of the Week. Good morning, Sheila.
Good morning, Mohammed. Good morning, Chicago, on this cold December day. Wow, we've got some lightning strikes today, though, even though it's snowy outside.
Yep, and we have our guests lined up. We have got Stephanie Kifowit, who would be joining us. Stephanie is running for Comptroller for the state of Illinois. So she'll be coming in about 8:20. We are going to go a little bit later with Stephanie. I'm probably going to have her stay on hold because we started off a little bit late on the show today. And before I go into my monologue, let's get started with our guest, Sheila. We'll just flip the script today.
Okay, we love flipping the script. We have with us an exciting guest. You know, a lot of moms and people are busy doing doing so many different things. Our guest today is Yolanda Barajas. She is a writer, a speaker, and a holistic dental hygienist based in Lake Bluff, Illinois. She's a creative thinker, and we love talking to creative thinkers and creatives on the Lightning Strike. She's a proud mother of 4 sons, and she combines her faith, life experiences with telling truth to others. I wish she was in government right now because we could need some people telling us the truth on what's going on. But what she does is she helps people to reconnect to their identity and to heal through their actions. She rewrites the stories they've been telling. She's been telling stories for quite a while, and she believes deeply in the power of encouragement and truth, that we're all divine sparks just waiting to be lit. I love it, love it, love it. Her book is entitled Life in the ING, in the ing. That's her first book. So welcome to the Lightning Strike WCPT. Yolanda, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Sheila and Mohammed. Thank you for this opportunity.
Good morning.
Now, I first talk about life in the ING. I mean, the ING is all throughout the language in America. We're doing, we're trying, everything. Explain to us about life in the ING.
So I understand life is always in motion, and we're either moving with it or we get stuck. And most times, our brain does this thing that it just automatically, anytime during a crisis, it flips from either fight, flight, or freeze. And it happens so quickly that we don't realize it. But I believe that having these tools helps us navigate life when we do feel stuck.
Wow. Now, how did you move from self-doubt to self-discovery? Because people get stuck there. They don't know what to do, how to move forward, how to be in the ING. So they're just pretty much staying, so to speak. I'll say it that way. So how did you move from doubt to self-discovery with this?
Well, I learned that when you realize that you are stuck, realizing that is an amazing thing in itself, because you figure out that you become aware that that's not where you want to be. Your heart is not aligned. Your thoughts and your heart do not align. And so there's that discomfort. And it's a chance for you to become aware of what it is and start with just the most simple step of write down, what would I prefer? What would life feel like if I didn't feel this moment of stuckness?
Yeah.
And
you said the moment of stuckness. Our government is in a moment of stuckness right now. How do we, the idea of going from transformation happens through action. transformation happens through action. Explain that to us, because a lot of people, they're trying to move forward. Our government is trying to do some things. It's not working in a lot of areas for a lot of people. So transformation through action, explain to us that a little bit, because people don't really know how to be transformed. They're just staying, like I said, they're just being where they are in the state of being, so to speak.
Oh,
So how do they move? How do they make that transition?
I think that individually, we all have to want it for ourselves, because a lot of times, even as a mom, I see the possibilities in my own children. But if they do not see it in themselves, there's nothing that I can do other than to be a support system and to remind them.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so it starts with us getting tired of being tired of what we're tired about, and
Yes.
deciding, today I have a choice. Today I'm going to choose to do something different, trip the wire, think a new thought, because this other thought is keeping me stuck and I don't like the way it feels. So it starts with asking, what would my best day look like if I just
Mm.
allowed myself to dream a little bit? Because I think we've forgotten to dream. And
Mm.
pen and paper allow us that safe space without anybody else around for us to really be vulnerable and put it down on paper, because we
Mm.
cannot change what we can't see.
Yeah. Now, each of your chapters in your book focuses on a different ing word, like forgiving, reflecting. Let's talk a little bit about that, and which one of these has been most meaningful to you in your growth journey?
I think forgiveness is huge. We hear
Mm.
it all the time that forgiveness is not, about, the thing that went wrong, or it's for the other person. It is truly for us, for the person.
Yes. Yeah.
When you forgive yourself, you cut the ties, the bonds that hold you feeling stuck. Those are the shackles. You
Yeah. Yeah.
forgive yourself because you did the best that you could with the tools that you had at the time. Because
Mhm.
when we know better, we do better.
Yes. Yes.
And you cannot expect forgiveness from the outside world, because
Mm.
forgiveness comes from within. And when you
Mm.
realize that you have the power and the choice to forgive yourself, you're much easy. It's easier to forgive others. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
easier to see from a different perspective their side, because it's
Yeah.
our ego that keeps us. It's all about me. It's not.
Mm.
It's about each other.
Yeah, I like to think of the word ego, ego, as edging God out, and every time you edge him out, there's going to be an ego situation. How can changing the way we speak to ourselves transform the moments in our life for real change? Because self-talk, self-doubt, it's real. It's really real. And so give us some examples of how speaking to ourselves can transform how we show up in life, in any area of our lives, whether it's in our family life, whether it's in our work life. It does make a difference. So, can you kind of explain to those people that may not be in the transformation journey or growth journey how that can really make a difference when they're speaking the things that they should be speaking to themselves about themselves?
One little exercise I remember in the very beginning for me was
Mhm.
remembering myself as an 8-year-old and how I would speak to myself.
Mm.
I would speak to myself with love and kind words.
Mm.
And that's something that sometimes we're hard on ourselves. And we have to remember, we want the best. If we want the best for ourselves, we want the best for the world. And it starts with looking at yourself in the mirror, not with eyes of judgment, but eyes of compassion. Look at yourself, speak to yourself. I love you. I love
Mm.
you. I know you're going to do amazing. We're going to get
Yeah.
through this. It's that self-talk.
Yeah.
And it's something that we have to learn. If we didn't learn this at home in our foundation, it's a chance for us to rebuild that foundation. And it starts with opening a book, learn something new. If we
Mm.
only
Wow.
let's say we finish high school and they say, okay, you're out the door, go figure it out. That's a chance for us to keep growing, to keep building, keep learning. Every day we're learning. Every day we're growing.
I totally agree with you, Yolanda. And by the way, Dr. White, we are live on WCPT, so they figured it out finally. Speaking of learning something new every day, uh, the other day when it was -20, I figured out how to do AI.
Oh,
Ah,
Okay. And I put up so many different pictures of me with celebrities that it is so fun. And I figured it out like in what, maybe half an hour or so, less than half an hour.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
playing basketball with Obama. I'm getting the Nobel Peace Prize before Trump, and, and also the FIFA Peace Prize before Trump. And I'm sitting in the White House. So much fun to learn new things. It's 8:21. We got Stephanie Kifowit joining us. She's running for comptroller. And Yolanda, any final words before we let you go? And I'd love for you to stay on. We do have some more time after Ms. Kifowit's segment is over because Read Bible, our regular contributor from Nevada, is sick today. So we'll be able to have a longer conversation with you if you'd like to stick on, would you?
absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, there's some more things that we want to get into with her book because doing, being, forgiving, trusting, reflecting. There's a
Yep.
lot of ING things as well as how to purchase it. So
Okay,
we'll have a good conversation.
awesome. So, Stephanie, if you could please unmute yourself and come on the screen. We would love to get you on today. And there she is. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Oh boy, don't even ask me. We are having so much fun with the technical difficulties with the studio, and they they finally figured it out about 10 minutes into the show. Because this is a new format, Stephanie, that we have started. Like I said, we are the only radio program in the country which is doing this dual format programs now. So yeah, a little bit of a hiccup over there. So good morning. If you would you mind please introducing yourself to our audience?
Definitely. My name is Stephanie Kifowit. I am currently a state representative with the state of Illinois, and I am running for controller for the state of Illinois. Just a quick snippet about myself. I was born to a single mom. And then pretty much raised for the beginning years with my grandparents, and they survived through the Depression. So they were very influential in my upbringing.
Mhm.
And then my mother married my stepfather, who was a worker with IBEW. And then at the ripe old age of 18, I shipped off to the United States Marine Corps, and I served my country for 4 years active duty. I got out, and by the graces of my GI Bill and working and assistance from state grants, I was able to go to Northern Illinois University and get my master's degree in public administration, which is a government finance degree.
Mhm.
I was a registered financial advisor. I married. I had two children. Now, currently, I'm unmarried, and my children are grown. So I've been an alderman for the city of Aurora for 10 years and a state representative for 12 years. My daughter is currently going back to school at NIU for accounting.
Mm.
She married a firefighter who is also in the Army National Guard. And my son followed a bit in my footsteps. He graduated high school and joined the United States Navy, and he is stationed right now in Yokosuka, Japan. So
Whoa.
certainly, we have a military background, Marine Corps background, so I'm a non-traditional candidate. I can stand up and shout out, and really looking forward to fighting back the Trump administration as controller for the state of Illinois.
So Stephanie, real quick, what is the comptroller? I mean, what's the difference between controller and comptroller? People get confused. What is a comptroller?
Well, the office of controller, people say it both ways with the P and not the P. If you look it up, the P is kind of silent, so I say controller.
Okay.
The controller is the chief fiscal officer of the state. So it's very different from the treasurer. The treasurer is the chief investment officer. So, as the chief fiscal officer of the state, it's really important, especially right now, to fight back from the Trump administration as they're trying to claw back and cheat Illinoisans out of the money that we are owed, that we are due. And so the controller kind of works as the backstop and the advocate for the taxpayers of the state of Illinois, making sure our budgets are balanced, but making sure that the bills are getting paid, but also going up against the national government in the just the fiscal hardship that they are trying to inflict on the individuals of Illinois.
Okay, so it's not just signing checks, right? It's much more complex than that.
It definitely is. The state budget is
Okay.
$124 billion. There are 700 different funds in the budget. I've been looking at the budget for 12 years as a state representative, the longest amount of the individuals in this race. I mean, they're very nice ladies and all, but as a United States Marine, we need to stand up, and it's very, very much more complicated than just signing checks, sir.
So, would you be open to releasing more frequent, more detailed public pension health reports? Because there's a lot of people are worried about the pension obligations that the state has.
Yes, sir. Uh, as the chair of pensions, I have been working on our pension obligations for the last 3 years, working on plans to pay down the debt from the pensions that we have. It's not from the workers, it is from the state being a deadbeat. So, certainly,
Mhm.
we need to make sure that the public is as informed as possible. And so, increasing our audits, increasing our reports, making sure that individuals know in a very interactive way the computer systems of the state of Illinois, specifically the controller's office, are not up to date at all.
Okay, yeah.
And we need to update those to make sure that residents can know what their state is doing, what their state's paying money on, and what the federal government is not paying us that we owe, that we are owed.
Okay, folks, so you're tuned into the Lightning Strike. We come every Sunday morning from 8 to 10 on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk radio station, and I believe the largest progressive talk radio station in the country right now. And so if you're listening to us worldwide on the heartlandsignal.com website and also live on our Facebook and the station's Facebook page, our guest today is Stephanie Kifowit. She's running for the comptroller for the state of Illinois. So, Stephanie, you were telling about the financial systems are still outdated. I worked for about 10 years with the Illinois WorkNet Center. I was the director of business employer solutions and corporate relations in the Arlington Heights Unemployment Office. And you talk about outdated systems. The state still has not updated their computer systems to process unemployment claims.
It's terrible. It's terrible. The infrastructure of the state with regards to computers is so outdated. It is so insecure. We have so much private data that's going through, and if we didn't see anything from the harvesting of the data from the Trump
Mhm.
administration and Doge, certainly we need to make sure that our information is not released to the federal government in the way that is unlawful and could be used for nefarious ways. With our Secretary of State, Alexi Janulius, has a hard fast against giving information to the federal government. And to be quite honest, the controller's office needs to be updated so that we can fight against the Trump administration taking our Illinoisans' data that they don't need and that they should not have in certain circumstances.
Well, that says a lot about what we need to be doing. So I know that Susana Mendoza had embarked on a multi-year modernization project that I hope that you will continue with that, right? So once completed, what are we looking at for the statewide accounting management systems and the statewide legacy systems?
Well, what are we looking at? We'll be looking at a more secure cyber secure system. I am well familiar with that system. They are in phase 2 right now. In fact, as the state representative, I've been working with the controller's office on this modernization, and we have the whole plan, and I know you don't have enough minutes in this segment to go over the whole plan, but there's
Okay.
about a 12 to 15 step plan from cybersecurity to updating our accounting systems to making sure payroll systems run properly. There's friends of mine that sometimes their paycheck doesn't hit their account in the way that it should, on the date that it should, or with the raises that they should have. So there are certainly modernization that we need to do, and I am the only candidate in this race that is really familiar with the modernization that we need to keep going forward on. And I can certainly talk to anybody about it. So I have all the knowledge with regards to that modernization as well.
Well, I think that is a plus in my book for you. But if you get elected, I'm not going to say if you get elected. I'm sorry. Okay, that's negative. When you get elected, do you support creating a real-time spending dashboard accessible to the public?
Absolutely. Obviously, as somebody who served our country and believes in democracy and believes in the power of the power of the people rests on government informing them of what they are doing. The people are the ultimate individuals with regards to how their taxpayer dollars are being spent. So I believe 100% to have a strong democracy, we need to have an informed public, and to make sure that we have a real-time dashboard is top on the list of my initiatives.
Absolutely awesome. So, how will you maintain independence from the governor and legislature? Because, you know, you're going to have these people coming at you and saying, hey, do this and do this. Uh, and how do you do that while holding each accountable for financially responsible decisions?
I think the structure of our government shows that the controller is not an appointed position by the governor to do the governor's whim. The controller is an independently voted upon office by the people, for the people, of the people. So I think that I have a streak of independence that nobody in this race has. I have stood up to leadership. I have spoken out. I was even criticized on Fox News for speaking out so much. So I wear that as a badge of courage, to be quite honest.
Okay.
As a United States Marine Corps veteran, I hold our country and our state first and foremost, and I am here to serve the people of Illinois and not anybody else.
So, if the commander-in-chief issues you an order that is illegal, you're not going to abide by that, right?
This is correct. In fact, I did
Okay.
just file a House resolution to that effect. Individuals can search my name, and we are putting it out there that as a military person, as a Democrat military person, which is becoming more and more and more, we need to urge individuals that are serving, like my son who is serving, like my son-in-law who is serving, that if they are given an unlawful order, they are not bound to file it. They are not bound to follow it. They should not follow unlawful orders, and I stand fast to that. And I think every Democratic veteran needs to go on Facebook and say that. Everybody went on Facebook and did the Ice Bucket Challenge. It was for a good cause.
Yeah.
This is for our democracy. This is for our democracy. Every veteran should go online and say, those that are serving, we've served, do not follow unlawful orders. Unlawful orders. We
Or they
need to
could,
start standing up. Yes,
or they
sir.
could come on the lightning strike and say that. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
we want to make sure that we have a platform over here that people can actually express. What the heck is? It's not so much draining the swamp, Stephanie. It is a sewer now. It is not a swamp anymore.
This is cool.
And someone needs to really hold our elected representatives accountable, and that's what we are trying to do through the show also over here. That once you get elected, yeah, we are going to hold your feet to the fire. So, what will you do if a governor, Democrat or Republican, proposes a budget you believe is fiscally irresponsible?
Tell you, I have history of voting against budgets, going back to Ronner budgets, going back to even this year's budget. This year's budget, I did vote against. There was property tax relief that had been in it for the last couple of years that was taken out. And people are dying. We need property tax reform. So you cannot pass a budget that has zero property tax help in it. It was small property tax help. There are people that didn't feel it, but there were some people that felt it and got property tax. And to zero that out, that's not a budget I can support. And to shortchange a lot of the services that were in this budget, I didn't support it. We needed to have a morally and responsible budget to pass. And I felt that this budget fell short. Several senators in the Senate felt the same way. So I think I have a strong record of standing up, not being a rubber stamp, and it falls on my foundation of standing up in the United States Marine Corps and being tough about it. And you can't be tough. You can't be soft. You got to be tough in this business, and you got to stand up for what's right.
I know, Stephanie. We need the Marines there, man. We need the Marines
Yes.
there for
Yes,
sure.
sir. Bring on the
Okay.
Marines.
Yeah, bring on the Marines. So, Dr. White, you got any questions for Stephanie?
Yeah, I do. I love it. Once a Marine, always a Marine. It doesn't matter how many years you've been out of service
Yep.
there. Because of the Doge, there are so many people in Illinois and across the country that have experienced hardship. How will you ensure transparency and improve communications? Because, like I said, all of our data is out there. It's being released. It's going in places we don't know. We need more transparency of what's going on, where these dollars are going. So how will you ensure that once elected?
Ma'am, that's a wonderful question. Along with the dashboard that we just talked about, my anti-Trump agenda is threefold. The first fold is to create a division of nonprofit assistance. So there are a lot of nonprofits that are struggling with the state of Illinois and with their systems, and now with the federal government and Doge, they're struggling even more. What we found when the SNAP benefits were set to expire November 1, there were states that were at the ready and got 100% of that SNAP distribution for their states. Illinois got 50% of that SNAP distribution. We need to make sure that we are at the ready to grab all the funds that our residents need. The second prong is going to be a dedicated labor division to make sure that our men and women that are working out every single day, unionized workforce, are being paid properly, not shortchanged, getting their prevailing wage and all the protections that the state of Illinois affords, making sure that we audit all those contracts. That's the second prong. And then the third prong is exactly what you said. Transparency and accountability. I've been doing government finance for 20 years, and to make sure that we have an accessible dashboard, that residents know exactly what's going on, and that we're fighting the Trump administration every single day to make sure that we are holding them accountable. And as you said, they're not accountable today. They don't think that we matter. They just go along and accept their $400 million planes and get their luxury items, while people like me, when I got out of the military, I was couch surfing. I didn't have a home. My mother lost the house. I was going from couch to couch and spare room to spare room until I finally got two jobs. I worked 40 hours a week on my day job and 30 hours a week on my night job just to afford an apartment for myself. Now, trying to raise a family today is horrific. And we need to make sure that the dollars get to the nonprofits, and our nonprofit liaison division. It's a division. Will be helping all those organizations that do so much for our community.
Stephanie, speaking of that, sorry, Sheila, go ahead.
Yeah. I just have another question, and this is in reference to our environmental concerns. You talk about a family, there's sustainability that we need to be thinking about. So within the budget, what environmental initiatives would you be championing as we're moving forward? Because everything is up in the air right now. There's so many cancellations because of Doge in this particular area. And so as you see things coming across in the budget, what things will you champion to help make sure we have more sustainability in our environmental concerns that we have?
Overall, I have a 100% environmental voting record as a state representative. And I just talked to a small business owner, believe it or not, who is decimated with the federal government completely reversing our environmental incentives And Illinois is giving their incentives, but he's in the renewable energies field and he's having a hard time paying his employees. And that trickles down to the families that depend on our small business initiatives. So I'm going to put small business first and foremost, and making sure that we can get out any incentives we can for, in this instance, renewable energy credits that the state of Illinois still has on the books, get them out as fast as possible, because it is all an ecosystem. And when the small businesses falter, the individuals that rely on that paycheck falter, and then they look to the government for assistance, and then the federal government is turning their back on individuals that need help. And that leads us to the state of Illinois. So certainly in our environmental sphere, we need to make sure that we in Illinois are not contributing to pollution in our waterways. Now, Illinois has seen cutbacks in our staff, and so I would champion increasing staff and making sure that we are spending money wisely in our Environmental Protection Agency. And the laws on the books in Illinois are strong, and we need to make sure that we keep programs such as replacing lead-based pipes.
And all that. Yep.
You know, they need clean drinking water. So I would continue to champion all those, as I have as a state representative. But again, we need to fight back on the Trump administration, who apparently thinks we don't need clean air and water and wants to go drilling in the Arctic, which is, again, completely in the wrong direction.
Well, Stephanie, thank you. Thank you so much. Today, Read Bible has not joined the show, so we're getting a lot more time that we could spend with you.
Oh, I'm happy to take up time for you and talk. It is an important position. This is the heart of the state of Illinois. All the funds go through the controller. It's not for somebody who's weak, and it's for somebody that's strong and that needs to stand up and do what's right in all cases. So I'm happy to continue to talk about this important position with the state of Illinois.
One of the things that I would definitely like to talk to you about later on, we can talk off the air on this, is the Illinois WorkNet system and the workforce development system. There is so much mess in that system. I was part of that for 10 years, so I know it from the inside out. Okay, the workforce money that is coming in through the federal WIOA program is so badly managed, it'll blow your mind. And I got the receipts for that. It's not just that I'm saying it, but that system really needs to be looked at, very, very closely. And once we get off the air, let's talk about it if you have the time later on during the day. Okay. I'd love to get you some feedback on that.
Certainly. And it's not just that one program. I've seen throughout the 12 years I've been there. So just in context, I was there when Quinn was there. I was there during the Governor Rauner administration and was with the budget working group that got us out of that 2.5-year budget impasse, which starved our nonprofits and really put the state of Illinois in a crippling situation. And then now I've been under the current governor and the current controller. So I worked with Judy Bartopinka and Leslie Munger, the hand-picked controller of Rauner, and now Suzanne Mendoza, to get on the right direction. However, as me in the budget working group and on the budget committees, I have seen what you just described in other cases as well. So what I'm going to do is work with the General Assembly. I know how to pass laws and to expand the audit capabilities of the controller to make sure, like you said, the money's going where it's supposed to go, the vouchers are being done the right way, the accountability is there, and to make sure that if there are nonprofits that are in the budget, that they are first of the line to get their funding. Instead of, in many cases, they've been in the back of the line, almost going a whole fiscal year without the funds needed to help the people in our state of Illinois.
Absolutely. So, Stephanie, we got 1 minute to finish off the segment. Why should the voters elect you? I know that there are more people jumping into the race. I was really surprised to see a message from our county Democrats yesterday pop up that there's another candidate who is a state rep or, state senator or state rep. I'll have to go back, who's coming to talk to us on January the 4th.
There's another state senator and another state rep. They both came into the General Assembly under Governor Pritzker, so they don't have the depth of knowledge that I have. And then there's a county treasurer who does not have any real experience with the state, to be quite honest. So they're very nice ladies. They're very nice ladies.
course,
But
yeah.
at the end of the day, we need somebody strong enough to go up against the Trump administration, knowledgeable enough to know how to do that, and to be quite honest, has the experience to get things done and to hold people accountable. So I am the only one in this race to do that. With my military background, we are standing up and fighting this administration who wants to do such horrible things to our people and to our country. And people can get more information from my website, kifowitforcontroller.com. And I can engage in a conversation just like this with anybody and to talk about them, why I am, with my military experience, my educational experience, my elected official experience, why I am the most qualified, and my experience is uniquely catered to the role of controller for the state of Illinois. We need a strong fighter, and Marines know how to get the job done and know how to fight for our country and know how to fight for our state and know how to fight for our people. And that's exactly what you're going to get with me.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us, folks. That is Stephanie Kifowit. She is running for the Comptroller of Illinois position. Election is March, when, Stephanie, 17th?
It is St. Patty's Day, March 17th.
March 17th, but early voting starts in February, right? Or January, I guess.
February.
So,
Yes.
folks, get your early votes in, and don't wait till the last day to go out and vote. And please register to vote. Bring your friends out to vote, and make sure that you vote for the right candidate. And once you have elected someone, hold them accountable. Don't let them sneak up for the last another 3-4 years and then come back again for your vote. Thank you so much. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back on the other side of the break with our regular guest. Yolanda is waiting very patiently in our waiting room over here. Thank you again for joining us, folks. We'll be right back after this break.
Calling all residential and commercial property owners. If you're like me, you're sick and tired of paying high electric bills, which, by the way, are on the rise. You're also probably unaware of the federal, state, and utility incentives that you qualify for. Take out a piece of paper and a pen and write down this number, 630-785-0031. Again, 630-785-0031. Give Greenlight a call for a no-cost, no-obligation energy assessment, and we'll show you which federal, state, and utility incentives you qualify for. Again, 630-785-0031. Give us a call, 630-785-0031.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the Lightning Strike. We come every Sunday morning from 8 to 10. Today, Read Bible is not joining us. Dolly Silverberg has got exams that she is preparing for. 9 o'clock, we will have our second hour starting at 9 o'clock. At 9:15, we have got former Congresswoman Marie Newman joining us. She is our regular co-host on the show. 9:30 is what's on is going
Maria.
to be Muzaffar's segment on Breaking the Echo Chamber. Maria is traveling. I got a message from her that if you can find a quiet place in the airport, she is going to be joining us. If not, we will continue the show today. And if you want to join us, the number to call in is 773-763-9278. You can also text us at that number. And let's get back to Yolanda. Yolanda, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning. Thank you for having me back.
I just wanted to, as we talk about, she's an author, a speaker, a holistic dentist, works in the dentistry field as well. We're talking about her book, Life in the ING. And Yolanda, I just wanted to get back to you and ask you, why is it so important to take aligned action rather than what we're doing today? You know what I'm saying? Everybody thinks they're on the right path, but why is it important to take aligned action rather than just waiting until you feel like it's okay?
Well, I think that we are all doing our best, number one.
Yes.
And sometimes even myself, I get caught being busy, but that's almost to me, it's very, very busy and running in a circle sometimes. And there's a difference between being busy and being productive. And when we have direction in our day, when we fill our day with purpose, our thoughts and how we feel align. And when those two are married, I say, when our thoughts and our beliefs marry, they fill us with purpose. There's a reason for us to get up in the morning. And if you lead with kindness, you are doing the thing that you are meant to do. It's when you feel out of alignment. It's when you feel stressed. It's when you don't want to go to that job. It's when you don't want to deal with that person. That's feeling out of alignment. That's not feeling aligned with your purpose. But it's also a great opportunity to find what is that? Why do I not feel aligned? And it's a perfect time to undo the knot. As they
Undo
say.
the knot. I
You know,
love that.
Yolanda,
Undo the knot.
one of the things that I talk about with Sheila all the time also is about the importance of giving thanks. We
Gratitude.
have to consciously give thanks for all that we have been given and not focus on someone else having something, better than what we have, because God has given us so much. Every breath that we take, someone has not taken a breath that we are taking right now. So constant thanksgiving is a mantra that I follow all the time. And
Yeah.
I
also,
agree.
yeah, the kindness, leading with kindness that you brought up. We have a group that we started over here called the Plainfield Community Alliance. And we had our first kindness contest this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, earlier this year, we had a kindness contest for all age groups in different categories, from writing poetry to art, photography, and about 5 different categories to express the sentiment of kindness. And we had a lot of people participating in it. And we want to make that an annual thing, not just in Plainfield, but for surrounding areas also. We had people from 5 different villages join the contest this year.
That is amazing. I do believe that when you are doing what fills your heart, fills your cup, it overflows. And a perfect example of what you just said, as far as painting, walking outside in nature, that is when you are present. You're not worried about something that hasn't happened. You're not stuck in the past. You're in that moment. And in that moment is presence. And in presence, there's gratitude, there's peace.
Yeah, that's so true. When we talk about gratitude and being thankful, which is so important and so key, especially since Thanksgiving was just a few weeks ago, how has your faith, Yolanda, guided you through the times of uncertainty or change? Because we are in a world and a time where there's change, complexity, overwhelming competition. And a lot of people don't know how to use faith or gratitude or thankfulness to guide them through all of this uncertain change. So what advice would you have, through your book, to help people to kind of get them through that, or a personal experience that you have had that helped guided you through the time of uncertainty?
Number one is I grew up in a home where faith was the cornerstone. That was priority. And maybe I didn't practice it as much, but I knew it. It was there. And when I needed it, it was where I turned to. And it is this trust, this faith that you don't know how it's going to work, but you just have to keep showing up. You can't quit on yourself. And I think it starts also with knowing who you are, asking the hard question, who am I? Because we were all born little babies And and then we're shaped by everything around us. We're shaped by our
Yeah.
family. We're shaped by what we are influenced on TV with, the music, everything. And that creates who we are today. And so when I talk about the tools in this book, it's the tools that have helped me to become who I am and who I am becoming. And one of them is breathing
Mm.
in a stressful situation.
Mm-hmm.
Take a pause. Do not react. Think for a moment. Try to understand the other person's view, because sometimes we react too quick, and we don't
Oh.
have clarity if we're reacting versus let me take a moment, let me understand this. But again, it comes back to who am I? Who am I at my core when everything is stripped away, when nobody is watching?
Mm.
Am I
Wow.
love? Am I filled with anger, resentment? Um, I've come to understand that the fire is where all of that gets burnt off, the resentment, the doubt.
Mm.
And on the other side of that is something beautiful. It's the belief of I can do this. I'm learning
Mm.
something new.
Right, right.
Awesome.
I
So
want to talk
Sheila, we
with you a
got
little bit
about
about what,
3 minutes
two
to
minutes.
2 minutes to finish off the segment. Okay.
Okay, I just want to ask you about holistic dentistry. This is kind of what you do. People hate to go to the dentist. You hear those sounds and things. And so, as we wrap up, talk a little bit about that field and how you got into holistic dentistry, which is different than the regular traditional dentistry.
Well, I was working in just traditional dentistry. People come in,
Mhm.
they get their teeth cleaned. They don't want anything extra. They don't want X-rays. They don't want extra anything. They're there, clean my teeth, and they're out the door. And there
Yeah.
was a time when a friend of mine kept saying, and again, this is part of the path opening up, you trusting, you not knowing, just follow when people show up. And a friend of mine kept saying, come work at this office. It's a holistic practice. I said, I don't know what that's about. I don't want to do that. And sometimes we block ourselves by saying no, but sometimes it's trust yourself, go along with it. So I ended up at this office, and the people I have met at this office are amazing. They come in, they don't just come in to get their teeth cleaned. They come in for connection. They understand that everything starts in the mouth.
Mm.
Bacteria builds up, inflammation shows up in our mouth, and
Mhm.
it doesn't just stay in our mouth, it travels to the rest of our body. So the holistic field is people are coming in, they treat the entire body, the whole person, not just the mouth.
Mm. Wow, that's
Well,
interesting.
that is
Well,
so interesting,
yeah.
Sheila. Thank you so much. You really bring up such good people, Sheila. It's amazing how you connect with the right people for the show. And Yolanda, that is so deep. Thank
That's
you
right.
so much
Yeah.
for sharing that. And I heard something which has stayed with me, to this day. Before you can walk in someone else's shoes, you have to take your shoes off first.
Mm.
So if
That's good.
you come in with your misconceptions, preconceptions, or whatever, you're never going to understand what is going through the other person's life or their mind.
Yes.
Mm.
Listening is a skill that we all have to learn. And if we learn to listen to each other, I think that we can connect and solve a lot of problems.
Absolutely. And especially on the
Get
on
her
the
book.
radio, we have to learn to
Yeah.
listen and keep an eye on the clock also so we can take our breaks at the proper time. Okay. Sheila,
Yeah.
final question, and we'll take a break after that.
Yeah. Just that last question. Where can we get your book? Where can our audience get a copy of the book? Life in the ING. Where can they get a
Yes,
copy?
life is in the ing. It's stop waiting, start becoming, and it's on Amazon, available now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Great.
Folks, we'll be right back after
Thank
this
you for having
break,
me.
going up into our second hour of the show. And Yolanda, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back after this break.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I can sign
Bye.
off.
You can sign up.
NBC News Radio, I'm Scott Carr. A person of interest is in custody in
Yeah,
Saturday's
at the top
deadly
of the
mass
hour,
shooting
so
at
we kind
Brown
of
University in
put it a
Providence,
little
Rhode
bit into
Island.
that
2
without taking a
people were
break.
killed, 9 injured when a gunman walked into a first-floor classroom of an engineering building just after 4 p.m. Saturday and opened fire on students preparing to take finals. Mayor of Providence Brett Smiley confirmed this morning an arrest had been made.
The community in Providence should breathe at least a small sigh of relief at this moment.
The police chief in Providence says a man was detained early this morning after searching all night for the shooter, seen on video in dark clothing walking away from the scene. Authorities in Australia say at least 11 people have been killed in a mass shooting at a Jewish event in Sydney. 2 people are in custody for the shooting that also injured about 29 people today at Bondi Beach. Police say one of the shooters was also killed. It's not clear how many gunmen were involved, though local police say there may have been 3, and it's been declared a terrorist incident. President Trump is vowing serious retaliation after 3 Americans were killed by ISIS in central Syria. 2 U.S. Army soldiers and a civilian interpreter were killed in an ambush Saturday while conducting counterterrorism operations in the city of Palmyra. CENTCOM says 3 other service members were injured. Well, nobody's won the latest billion-dollar Powerball drawing. Jim Forbes has that.
Saturday night's Powerball drawing was worth $1 billion, making it the 7th largest in lottery games history. The Powerball website says, however, that nobody matched all 6 numbers in Saturday's drawing, so the jackpot will roll over to Monday's drawing when it will be worth $1.1 billion.
Actor wrestler John Cena says he's stepping out of the ring once and for all after the 17-time WWE champ fought his last battle last night, tapping out after being put in a sleeper hold by 3-time Austrian champ Gunther. Scott Carr, NBC News Radio.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Tired of all those talking heads down the dial who think they're always right?
People need to just calm down. It's gotten ridiculous.
Welcome to WCPT 820.
We'll be back in 1 minute.
Frankly, I get most of my news from you.
This is WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
From energy to public health, extreme weather, the economy, and more, Climate Connections makes the global local. Hear it weekdays during the Tom Hartman program and during Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, right here on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Calling all residential and commercial property owners. If you're like me, you're sick and tired of paying high electric bills, which, by the way, are on the rise. You're also probably unaware of the federal, state, and utility incentives that you qualify for. Take out a piece of paper and a pen and write down this number, 630-785-0031. Again, 630-785-0031. Give Greenlight a call for a no-cost, no-obligation energy assessment, and we'll show you which federal, state, and utility incentives you qualify for. Again, 630-785-0031. Give us a call, 630-785-0031.
Welcome back to the Lightning Strike with Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the Lightning Strike. And today we are going to be getting into our second hour, and I am getting into my monologue that I start the show off with on the second hour today. And I wanted to talk about whatever happened to Doge, Sheila. Okay.
Man, they dodged is what happened. Doge has dodged
Okay.
the
So,
area.
yeah, whatever happened to them? Not the meme, okay? Not the coin, the Doge coin, remember? I'm talking about the so-called Doge Initiative, the Department of Government Efficiency that was rolled out with such big promises, bold branding, and the kind of hype we usually reserve for tech startups, not public institutions. We were told that Doge would cut waste, modernize government, streamline bureaucracy, and save taxpayers money. Efficiency was the buzzword, right? Disruption was the selling point. Accountability was implied, or at least assumed. But fast forward to today, and the question isn't how much money did Doge save? The real question is, what exactly did Doge do, and at what cost to us, the taxpayers? Because what we do know is this, folks. Significant public funds were spent. New offices were created. Consultants were hired. Staff were recruited, transferred, or reassigned. Entire teams were stood up in the name of quote unquote efficiency. And now, many of those employees are gone, laid off, reassigned, or left in limbo, right? Careers have been disrupted, expertise lost. People hired with promises of innovation have suddenly found themselves without clarity, protection, or a future job or a path now. That's not efficiency, folks. That's called as churn in the business. CHURN. This is the part of the government reform that no one likes to talk about. The human cost. Real people were hired into Doge, believing that they were joining a serious effort to improve public service. Instead, many ended up as collateral damage in a political experiment that moved faster than it planned and branded better than it governed. I'm thinking, Sheila, some of them may have moved into this new department of whatever that is out there, ICE. Okay.
Yes, they transferred into ICE. A lot of them probably.
Yeah, okay. And let's talk about the money, folks. Doge was supposed to save taxpayers' dollars. But when you account for startup costs, contracts, severance, restructuring, and duplicated work, it is not unreasonable to ask whether Doge became another layer of bureaucracy rather than a cure for it. Efficiency isn't a slogan. It's not a logo. It is not a launch event. Real efficiency is boring. It is slow. It is data-driven. It respects institutional knowledge. It builds system instead of tearing them down for headlines. Firing this, firing that, firing this. Oh, we saved so many millions and so many billions of dollars. It was all a pipe dream. Doge, by contrast, felt more like a tech beta test dropped into a government without the guardrails that public service requires. And here is the bigger issue. Accountability. Who is responsible for the outcomes of Doge? We never got to hear about who is responsible. Who is tracking the money spent versus the results delivered? Has Congress been informed about this? I don't think there's been any congressional hearings on this, Sheila, where someone from Doge came and answered questions, right? Yeah, who is answering to the employees who were recruited, displaced, or discarded? Because government doesn't get to say, move past and break things. Not when things being broken are livelihoods, public trust, essential services. If Doge failed, the public deserves to know why. If it succeeded, we deserve proof, not press releases. I mean, as simple as that. And if the initiative is quietly being dismantled, like we heard just now, or absorbed, then transparency isn't optional, it's mandatory. Government efficiency, folks, is a worthy goal. Everyone wants a government that works better, costs less, and serves people more effectively, right? But efficiency without accountability is just chaos without a budget. So tonight, we want to talk about Doge. Let's remember that this isn't about politics. It's about stewardship. It's about whether reform was real or just rebranded disruption. And we're going to talk about it all day. We're going to talk about it for the rest of the week, and maybe we'll continue the conversation, next week also, because the taxpayers paid for Doge. The workers, you and I, we paid for Doge, and the public deserves answers. That's what we are here to talk about on the Lightning Strike today. It's 9:09. In about 6 minutes, Congresswoman Murray Newman will be joining us with her guests, and she is going to be looking at a couple of other topics also, because this is so essential, folks, that we come every Sunday at least and talk about these things, bring awareness to you. And Dr. White, thank you so much again for staying on with us. So, Sheila, common sense question, right? You bring in a Department of Government Efficiency, and they bring in people with strange, funky names. I'm not even going to use that name big, on the air over here. But this young kid who came in and he got beaten up recently, that led to our president bringing in the National Guard to the Capitol to protect these little kids who were running around, messing around with our government. Where's the accountability?
Instead of the word Doge, it should have been named disruption, because everything about Doge has been a disruption in every area that they've entered into. They're supposed to be for the people, working with the people, but they have actually rebranded the word, and it's really disruption. We have been left with chaos. We have been left with chaos, and we have not recovered from it, even though he has gone on to his own little toys, playing with Elon, is playing with his toys and his businesses. There's monies, there's things that have been hidden from the people, and there does need to be more transparency. What happened? What's going on? Where did the money go? You know what I'm saying? All of this money that was supposed to be saved by the taxpayers, what happened? How much was saved? There's no transparency. There's no accountability. And I'm so glad that Marie's joined us, because she has
Good
an
morning,
inside
Marie.
track of what's been happening in the government and the disruption. Even before Trump, there were things going on. But now, speaking of Doge, it's just so irresponsible. So I
And
would like to get your take on that.
and what
What is
about
your
all
feeling about
the,
that?
what about all the data that was mined by these people? That is what I want to know. What has happened to all the records, all the data that these guys have collected? Marie, good morning. Your
Good
thoughts on this?
morning. Good morning. Oh, well, Sheila, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's all the questions. And I don't know as I know I have a inside track. I do know, kind of where those things could go. But you're right. Like, I don't think anyone exactly knows. So let's start with the money. So just for everybody that is not tracking this thing, nor should you be, please have a life and don't understand this. But so the money that they supposedly were going to save ended up being in the deficit. So now we have added the money that they took away of the 7 or 8 federal agencies and subdepartments that they fully closed, the layoffs, the lack of services to USAID, which has been, by the way, let's start with the scariest number of all. 600,000 children have died because USAID stopped giving food to kids around the world.
Just think about it.
600,000.
Yeah.
So let that sink in. On the other side of things, with regard to the financials, they're saying now that the Doge cuts have actually taken away somewhere around $30 billion from the budget total, even, accounting for everything that they scrubbed away, because a lot of those programs actually, A, produce revenue, and B, solve problems and prevent expenses. And so now we're in a worse spot in terms of expenses than we were before Doge started. So that's one. And then with regard to the data, like I throw up my hands and I say, I have no idea if it is in a semi-secure place, a secure place, a totally insecure place. I mean, data breaches have gone up, by the way, at companies. So if anybody can tell us that, that's probably a good thing to find out.
This is like a television show, what's happening in our government. I mean, somebody in Hollywood is going to make a movie about all of this happening because it seems surreal that we can have this happen. No one can stand up. No one can speak out from the Senate to the Congress. People are afraid to come against this administration. There's very few people that are willing to stand up. And this is the reason why when we had Stephanie on earlier, we need new blood. Muhammad talks about that all the time in government. We need more leaders that'll stand up and speak out. So
Speaking of
this is the
new
time.
blood, speaking of new blood, Sheila, we got a guest joining us shortly to talk about new blood in government. But I got a title for the movie that you just spoke about. Okay, the first word of that is cluster. I'm not going to say the next word.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I know. Right?
Okay. We get it. We get it.
Okay, folks. So, folks, you are tuned in to the Lightning Strike. We come every Sunday morning from 8 to 10 on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk radio station. And joining us now is Junaid Ahmed, who's running for the 8th Congressional District of Illinois. Good morning.
Good morning, Junaid.
Good morning.
I don't see him over here. Okay, there he is.
Yeah, no, he
Let's
is
bring him
on
in.
now. We have visual and we can hear him. So that's amazing. Welcome, welcome. So folks, we're lucky enough to have another congressional candidate today. As you may have been noting off over the last several weeks, we've been having candidates on in the various congressional districts and sometimes state senate and state rep cases. And just great folks. I'm calling this the New Guard series because the folks that we're having on are the new guard of candidates, and that has nothing to do with age, as a reminder. It has everything to do with a new way of thinking. You know, folks that want to get money out of politics and folks that are really interested in transformational change and unrigging the economy, healthcare for all, having clear human rights around the world. All of those folks we're having on. So with that, I'm going to introduce Junaid in a hot second. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself. But just so you know, one of the interesting things, a few weeks ago, I did a Substack on the importance of having tech people in Congress. Very embarrassingly, if everybody remembers, in 2021, we had this horrifying hot mess of a committee meeting where senators had no idea how social media works, had no idea how the algorithms work in search engines, had no idea about anything. And I was embarrassed for them, and I was embarrassed for our country. It has gotten slightly better. Now, all of these guys in the Senate and Congress know how to use social media very well, but they still don't understand how AI really works, how crypto really works. And in this article that I did, so now here we are. When we throw things under the rug, there's an old saying, my mom says it all the time. When you keep throwing stuff under the rug, pretty soon there's a big bump and you fall over it, right? And so, you know, this is where we're at, is we've been ignoring crypto. It is a fact, and then it's used around the world now. We have to address it and regulate it. We can't just pretend it's not there. So with all of that, I'm proud to say that we are looking at a new guard of many candidates that have tech backgrounds. There's a gentleman in Illinois 6 running too that has a good tech background.
Yep,
so
great.
The case with Junaid is that he's not just have a great tech background, he also is an entrepreneur and been very successful in that space, and has lived in his district his whole life. And so with that, I'm going to introduce Junaid Ahmed from running in the Illinois 8 congressional race. Junaid, tell us about you.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you for him, Dr. Sheila. So good to see y'all. My name is Junaid Ahmed. I'm son of an immigrant. Both my parents have migrated here from the United States. I was born in India myself. You know, my grown up saw dad working 2 jobs and just, you know, working hard, and very typical American immigrant story. Seeing that hard work, wanted to honor that sacrifice. I started out my own college education at a community college in Chicago. So that's something very close to my heart, a community college education. And then I transferred to DePaul University, where I studied computer science. I got a job, worked about 6-7 years in the industry, went back and earned an MBA from University of Chicago Booth School of Business, and then started my own company. And today I own a tech firm here in the Chicago area. We do quite a bit of supply chain work, we do finance work, We do AI development as well. So very much understand responsible direction that we need to take as a country and as a humanity, I say. Giving back to the community was always at the forefront. I have been involved in relief work just about all my adult life. And fighting back when things needs to be done is at the forefront. And today we are seeing ICE coming to our communities, kidnapping people. But if you remember several years ago, parents were being separated from children, and up north in McHenry County, we had an ICE detention center where literally there were parents, being held there, separated from their children, and we kind of took on that fight. And this is many years ago, and we succeeded until we shut down. We were relentless in the cold winter nights. So there's nothing that that tells us that we will not succeed one more time. It may take a little bit more time, but we're going to be out there. We're going to be protesting. We're going to be organizing, and we will take that organizing skills to the halls of Congress, and that's how we're going to make a change.
Well, good. Well, I'm pleased to hear that you're very focused on the ICE raids and what I'm just now being clear on. They are unlawful kidnappings. They are not deportations. They're unlawful kidnappings. Let's just call it what it is. I've learned over this year is that there is no subtlety with the Trump administration, and therefore we cannot be subtle when we talk about it, right? Can't dance.
Yes.
So hey, thank you for sharing a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Illinois 8. First, I always like to share with our listeners, where the heck is Illinois 8 exactly? If you can do a quick roundup of the tips of it.
Yes, absolutely. It starts on the east from very close to O'Hare Airport, city of Chicago. Believe it or not, we got some parts of city of Chicago. You go west from there, you go through Des Plaines, Grove Village, parts of Palatine, parts of Rolling Meadows, parts of Arlington Heights, and then it kind of opens up. There is no shape that I can say it's a rectangle. It's a really odd shape, and then it kind of opens up into Schaumburg, Hoffman Estates, Hanover Park, South Barrington, Bloomingdale, Roselle, very small parts of Itasca, Addison. It goes west from there, Glendale Heights, Elgin, South Elgin, Gilbert's, pretty much very close to the cornfields in the west.
Good. Okay, that helps us understand where you're running. What do you think is the number one issue in Illinois 8? When you're knocking doors and you're in meet and greets, what are people saying? This is my number one issue.
So we've been knocking doors as a team. We have knocked about 13,000 doors. I've been out in front of hundreds of doors, and the consistent message that I'm hearing, I'll break it into top 3 here. People are very concerned about their health care benefits being taken away, Medicaid being taken away. What is next? That's what people are very concerned about. A lot of aging population in my district, they're worried about 50 plus, 60 plus. They're very worried about Social Security, impact to Social Security, what's going to happen there. And then third, a big majority of the people are asking, hey, is there going to be a fair election come 2028? Or how do we protect our democracy? And fairly recently, it's coming to ICE raids coming to our neighborhoods. I was in Elgin a few days ago, where one man was kidnapped, and there was literally on a beautiful cold morning when kids should be playing with the snow. People were just pouring saline solution in their eyes, and people are concerned. So those are the top solutions I'd say. I know you asked me for one, but when I go and talk to people, there's more than one out there.
It's never one, right? It's overwhelmingly, I have been talking to so many candidates over the last 6 months, now hundreds of them across the nation. And it's very interesting. What I'm starting to see, and this is a natural occurrence when there's a huge issue like affordability. Affordability is not a silo, right? It is something that lives inside of healthcare, inside of your housing, inside of your everyday needs like groceries and gas and all the things. And so affordability is not its own policy issue. It is part of everything, right? So I assume that is the case with your constituents as well. Tell us a little bit about, so you have a huge field. How many people? Is that 12 people, Junaid, running in your race?
There are 8 people.
Okay.
Now,
8.
there were 9. One person has stepped back, and he has endorsed our campaign. He has endorsed me. Chris Callis.
Okay, great.
Yes. Great. Yes. So he has endorsed us. Now that leaves us with 8 candidates in this race.
Only 8.
Only 8 for 8.
That's nothing. Come on. All right. Well, great. Well, so tell us, because you're all in a Democratic primary, right? So we're all on the same team. How do you differentiate from all of those people? How are you different than all of those other 7 great candidates?
Look, it's very straightforward and it's becoming clearer and clearer by the day. Uh, Someone who has been in the community, not today, not as a candidate, but a decade ago. That's number one. Number two, I've taken a public oath that I'm not going to be taking any corporate PAC money. And number three, any dark money. So when you bring all of those three combinations in and not taking APAC money, being bold enough to stand up and actually say that I'm not going to take APAC money. And if you look at, and when people dig in a little bit deeper, they are seeing that we are the only campaign that has raised almost 7 figures money, 100% from grassroots. There are candidates in this race who are 80% self-funded, 50% self-funded, 60% self-funded, 46% self-funded. The only candidate which has raised that kind of money. There's one more candidate who has not taken it's self-funded, but hasn't raised even close to what we have done. So standing up for people, being there, not as just as a candidate. And one of the things that we're doing, I'm part of an organization at the height of the pandemic when there was, our neighbors were, unhoused neighbors were getting access, limited access to good meals. We started reaching out to people. We started with a humble goal of taking 54 meals from my friend's trunk. This year, we have exceeded 1 million warm meals. So that kind of background, there's nobody here who's taken a bold stance, who's been on the block for a decade, has successfully claimed that we were part of the organizing people who have shut down an ICE detention center. We were there yesterday. We are there today. We will be there tomorrow for the people, not for a career.
Well, excellent. Good delineation between you and your fellow candidates. Money in every race is a problem. And folks, just as a voter's tip for everybody, the reason we don't have Medicare for all, the reason we don't have climate legislation, and the reason we don't have regulation around a lot of financial tools and we have a rigged economy is one thing, is that candidates receive money from corporate PACs, from bully PACs, which let's remind people who they are. It's APAC, Democratic Majority for Israel, 314 Science, and some of their affiliates, all of those bully PACs, plus all of the corporate PACs, of which there are upwards of 1,000. Those PACs are the ones that dictate their marching orders to members of Congress that take that money, and then they don't set up legislation that will unrig the economy, that will give us Medicare for all, that will give us climate legislation that's transformative. So please remember, this is just a little PSA for all our low voters out there. Do not vote or support or give money to candidates that take corporate PAC money or bully PAC money, period. Because you're
Marie,
not
one thing which I wanted to point out over here, that if people want to find out about the finances of a campaign, they can go to the FEC website. Okay,
right.
FEC.
Actually, I have a fun shortcut for you. I don't know. Okay. I did a piece on this last week. It's called the Integrity Index. All you have to do is Google it, and it brings everything together. So all of the data from FEC and from Quiver Quantitative, which is how we track stock trading, and it puts it in one place. It's like one-stop shopping. It's amazing. So folks, Google the Integrity Index. It'll pull up your member of Congress, whether a senator or a state or U.S. House rep. It is not a state level politician tool, but anybody in the Congress in either house, pull up their name and it'll tell you how many stocks they're trading, when, where, and how. It'll tell you immediately what PAC money they're taking, what the size of their campaign cash is, as well as all of the finer points like which PACs are giving, which unions are giving, all of the things. And it's just a touch of one button. So go to the Integrity Index and find out if your member is taking it. So Junaid, can you tell us 2 things before you go? One is, what is going to be your first piece of legislation out of the gate? What do you think you want to do first to address the issues in your district?
The number one thing that we are talking about in our district, as I kind of brought those things, is to roll back the changes that Donald Trump has made to cutting off the Medicare. That's the first thing I'm going to work on rolling back. But see, there's too many firsts here, but that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first thing I'll
No,
go. But
it's important.
it
Yep.
is. It's so important that like, see, I'm running to fight back and push forward. I mean, to make life affordable. I talked about specific policies there, but to make life affordable for the working families of our district, right? That means affordable healthcare for everyone, affordable childcare for everyone. That means affordable, universal preschool, quality public education, free community college, eliminating student debt. Also means that we bring jobs back into our district, raise the minimum wage. We need a path to 100% clean energy. Stand up to protect a woman's right to choose.
Yeah.
You know, I'll fight for the right to organize and collectively bargain into law that, passing the PRO Act. So there's so many things to do, but it all starts with, fighting back against Donald Trump and his attack on working families. And that's going to be the path there.
Sheila, you have a question?
Yeah, with the crowded race, 8 people running, someone is bound to come up with some negative campaign issues and things along the line, even within the party that we're representing here. How do you fight back against that? Because everybody think they can do it and they're that one, but how do you fight back against that?
Oh, let me just share in a very quick few seconds. You're talking about negative attacks. They actually wrote a Substack against me, and apparently I own a petroleum empire. Apparently I own a huge building in Schaumburg. I looked up the address. I was like, hey, that's a nice building. So I think what's going on here is there are 4 other Junaid Ahmeds in the district. So apparently this Junaid Ahmed, who also goes by J. Ahmed, owns it. It's like Will Smith. It's a pure racist attack. So that has started, Dr. Sheila White. And we are, some things are as funny as basic that makes you laugh, but they are going to come. We know that dark money is going to come against us. The way we are fighting back, Dr. Sheila, is that we are at the doors, talking to the voters, setting us, expectation that who we are, who Junaid is, and if you see something, how do they reach out? How do they talk? And we are going to be reacting. We will go if it comes down to it, but we have already started seeing it. And as basic of a racist attack, this could be like, you're Will Smith, you own this.
That's good. Well, Junaid, thank you so much for your time today. Can you tell us where we can learn more about your platform?
JunaidForUS.com.
Very
we
good.
Are all on all social media as well. But JunaidForUS.com is our website. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate you, and stay safe on the trail.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Okay, folks, so we are back with Marie Newman. Marie, thank you so much for bringing in, again, great guests. And we talked about bringing in, new blood, new thinking into Congress. And it's so important that we have people who are not bought and sold to special interests, like what we've been seeing with our Congress people now. The other topic that you wanted to touch on, Marie.
Sure.
So important.
Yeah, I harp on this a bit, so I always tell my subscribers to my newsletter, I'm sorry that I harp on this, but I do love talking about it. So wealth and income inequality, the inequities in our country are dramatic and honestly, quantitatively, the worst they've ever been. Let's just all be honest about that. We are in a second Gilded Age. And so, as much as we've all read the, timeless tales of the Gilded Age, whether it's Edith Wharton's The Age of Innocence or The House of Mirth or any of the things we had to read in junior high and high school, it has never been like this before since the Gilded Age. And if we needed a metaphorical reminder, let's just look at the new palace, and he's building a palace.
Yeah.
So Trump is building a palace right now. Not only is it like, I'll just make some editorial comment, and I apologize, but it is quite possibly the most hideous version of the Oval Office. I mean, it looks like someone threw up in a home goods store that had a bunch of fake gold pieces, and it's all gilded. It's just really horrifying. The interesting plot twist here is, so back in the 1890s and the robber barons of that time, they would do these outlandish things and brazen things that where they would bribe politicians and politicians would bribe them back, and they'd both take in tons of money and really screw over workers and working families all day long and twice, which is why the union labor movement rose up and we did better for a while with that. But the plot twist here is that Trump doesn't care to hide it. These guys tried to hide it and say, oh, well, it'll do something better for you. He's not even hiding it. And neither is his cabinet, and neither are these oligarchs, whether it's Thiel or Musk or any of these guys. They are not hiding it. They are making it very clear. Yes, we are bribing the president. And yes, he is giving us lots of money. And he gave us this $4 trillion tax cut. And I am really enjoying it. And I'm going to keep price gouging you. There's just no hiding it. So that's the difference. But let's look at the characteristics of a Gilded Age. There's the extreme wealth gap that we have going on. People are, the fact that the minimum wage is still $7 is beyond ridiculous nationally. Now, we've rectified that a bit here in Illinois. We're at $15 an hour, and so have other states. But we should have a federal minimum wage. And now it's 23. It's not 15. It should be 23 numerically. So let's just all fight for 23. The tech dominance is ridiculous. Back in the robber baron age, it was motors and the industrial age. So they had a different dominance, but ours is the tech dominance, that data and AI and all of the tech domineers are doing horrifying things. Now, again, we have to realize as a country that tech, crypto, AI, all of those things, all of the social media, they're not going away. We have to deal with it. And that's what I encourage my former colleagues in Congress to do, is to actually deal with this stuff and regulate it. So we have all the social tensions that are associated with that. And honestly, the path to reform, though, here's the bright spot. So here's the happy ending. Is that what we know in our history, and this happened in the late 20s through the 30s into the 40s, is there was dramatic reform. We got things like we had Social Security come out of that area. We had other social network services that came out of that area. And interestingly, and I didn't know this till recently when we did the research, is that when they built the Social Security program during the Roosevelt years, the FDR years, is they allowed for a slot, an amendment slot for Medicare. So Medicare was designed well before it became an actual federal agency in the 60s. So just know that we can always do that too. We can start out with preparing for these things. But folks, here's what I predict, is that given Trump's ratings are hovering, his overall ratings are hovering around 40. He's hovering around 36 on the economy, the same on immigration and lots of other topics. I do think, I think we are going to win in 26, and I think we have a good shot at 28. But more importantly, I think we're ready, and we have all of the on-ramps toward a New Deal era where dramatic change takes place. And that's why we need to look at candidates and elected officials that are willing to look at dramatic change. Junaid is right. We have to reverse everything that these yahoos have done, these GOPers that ruined our quality of life. We have to reverse all that, but we also have to look at dramatic change, dramatic economic change. Bring back all of our civil rights protections and our human rights protections. Make sure that our reputation around the world. I think we're looking at dramatic transformational change that will last for a couple decades, like it did at the onset of FDR's rise. So that is the good news. But what that means is we all have to do it together. So as I tell everybody every day, guess what? Nobody gets to sit this one out. You do have to participate. So please do that this week. Visit my Substack column. It comes out on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we'll keep talking about all these things.
Yeah. Murray, if you have the time, if you can continue with us today. Because
I can. I'm
Maria
right here.
Maria is traveling.
It's 9 degrees outside. I'm not going anywhere.
No, and one of the things that I would definitely like to see is for us to bring our troops back. Okay, we just heard about more Americans getting killed in Syria. What the heck were they doing in Syria to begin with? Why do we have people in different parts of the world going after people that we have no business going after? If a country has problems, let them solve their own darn problems.
Well, here, let me clarify something for you. So, how our Department of Defense, and I refuse to call it Department of War, so it is the
Oh,
Department
yeah,
of Defense.
of course, yeah.
It's a little bit like Sears Tower, right? I know.
No one is going to call it the Willis Tower.
I'm sorry, I am just putting putting a line in the
my
sand.
generation.
Yeah. So the Department of Defense regularly, and this is through every administration, regardless of political stripe, is we do have folks stationed in literally almost every country, like at least in the region, right? So it is not uncommon to have troops there. It is very uncommon to let them go into dangerous areas willy-nilly. It is. And this is what's happening. So we have thousands of troops in the Caribbean right now, while the lunatic in chief is thinking, oh gosh, it'd be great if we could go to war with Venezuela and I can get all of their oil. Well, it doesn't work that way, first of all. And there is international law. The ICC is a real thing. I was just talking about this with my husband last night, is that it's very interesting, right? So we have the International Crime Court, right? Netanyahu has been indicted. Putin's been indicted many times. There's several others, but it'll be interesting to see what they do post, because the ICC fell out of the Nuremberg trials. We went to see Nuremberg last night, the movie.
Yep.
And so the ICC was developed as a brainchild that came out of that. So Justice Jackson, who was pivotal in that, put together the brainchild, because there was no international law. It wasn't a thing. We didn't need it before, but now every war is a world war. As we know, everybody gets engaged. So we do need it. So to answer your question directly, in Syria, we just always have people around. It sounds like there was some likely some bad direction from some post where we were getting involved in something that wasn't necessarily ours to get involved in. But it is smart to have people posted around the world. It is not smart to send troops to the Caribbean to set up for war. That's not smart.
Well, I agree with you. Okay, but which other country in the world has got troops in other parts of the world just sitting over there?
There's probably 15 countries that have troops stationed in various parts. Yeah, that's not terribly common.
I mean, which country in the world has got troops stationed over here, for example, from other countries?
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Okay, so that's what
I hear your point. I hear you. Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. We got so many issues over here that we have to resolve first.
Yeah.
And then we end up with our, like you just mentioned, the lunatic in chief saying, oh, we are going to go after these people now that they got him. Come on, man. When is this going to end?
Yeah.
That is a concern that I have. Okay. Are we going to be throwing more people in or more money in? When is this corporate meeting? I'm not going to say even corporate, this military industrial complex. When are we going to break free of these people?
Yeah, that's part of the problem, right? Is we keep increasing the NDAA, which is the annual bill that funds the military and the defense, right, in the U.S. It keeps on getting larger and larger. And then in this particular era of fascism that we're in right now, in this administration, our social service network is decreased down and been completely gutted in service of the military budget. So for me, Trump keeps saying I'm the peace president, and yet he wants to go to war with Venezuela. He's picking fights with everybody. He refuses to support our allies like Ukraine. So he's not acting like a peace president. I got to tell you.
Well, there's
it's important.
Peaceful about it. Go ahead, Sheila.
Yeah, I just, when you said bring back the civil rights and human rights protection, it is so amazing what we have been founded upon. We are really running away from the basic fundamental rights and institutions and things that have been set up in America, that the reason why people want to come to America is because of a better life. But these things are being stripped away, day by day by this administration, until the point where even being born here doesn't even matter anymore, because that's even being threatened, that if you're an American, if you're born on this soil, that you may be able to be kicked out of this country. So there are so many civil and human rights that have just been taken away. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I think if all these forefathers could have see America today, I really wonder, I really wonder what their views would be and the things that they would say, because this is not the America that was founded upon with the original Constitution. And all the amendments that have been made were being made to make us better, not worse. But it seems like this administration is bent on selfishness and just bent on taking away the rights of the people, which is just crazy, which is crazy.
You know, you hit on something that's really near and dear to my heart right now, Sheila, is the reason we're having these reversal of our civil rights, human rights, and our protections is because it's the human condition, right? Is that these current leaders are incredibly narcissistic and incredibly selfish, like to the nth degree. Like I've been having these conversations with a couple of neuroscientists lately about, you know, as they watch this stuff, and of course they can't comment because they're doctors, PhDs, but they said, you know, it's wild. Like we have not seen this before. You know, we have not seen our leaders be so mentally imbalanced. Like, you know, they look at the cabinet and they're like, yikes, there's not a healthy one in there. You know, like, so and I'll speak for them. I won't share names, but like it is pretty wild. And so I think it's the human condition. Like, and let's be honest, our founding fathers, they were all slaveholders, not good dudes, you know, like, you know, so let's be honest about that, you know, so what I think that we did allow for is we all have to improve. We know that, you know, whether you are Christian, Muslim, Protestant, Hindu, whatever you are, I think the one thing that we all agree on is that we all sin. We all sin, right? And so we're sinners. So naturally, we have to keep thinking about how to be better. If you're an atheist, it's like the golden rule, right? We always have to strive to be better people, right? Yeah. So I think that's at the crux of it is that we have gone through, there's an old communications theory from I remember I had a professor that was a PhD in communications, and he had a marketing degree and a bunch of things. He was a really interesting guy. So he looked at the motivations of people, right? And when there is an evilness in the world, there's always like kind of a last gasp before it totally dies. So it rises up and again. So we've had fascism rise up. I don't know if you remember the story of the silver shirts. There's a great piece out by Rachel Maddow right now about the silver shirts here in the US. They were just like the brown shirts in Nazi Germany. In fact, they were connected and working together in the 30s, right? That we had members of Congress, 50 of them, 50, that were silver shirts. Wow, fun, huh? And so and the reason we had World War II is we got rid of those dudes, which was great. And they went to trial, by the way. So for me, I think that our path forward is dynamic. You're right. The founding sentiment and those founding elements will allow us to move forward to have another day. And this week, as the three of us sit here right now, I feel more buoyed than ever. I think people have had it with this administration. You know, if you are okay with the immorality, which you shouldn't be, the immorality is astounding. The incompetence is, oh my God, I have never seen.
You talk about the silver shirts. I was following up on that conversation, Marie. It was amazing that at their peak, they had tens of thousands of sympathizers, okay? And when we talk about, you know, all of us have sinned, I think some of us have sinned more than others by voting for Trump, okay?
Perhaps.
Okay. Yeah. So, you know, at this time, I think they were mostly active in the Midwest and West Coast, if I'm not mistaken. You know, this.
Well, they had hubs, right? This is very interesting. And so you hit the nail on the head is that like their hub was DC, but in the Midwest, they literally this gets in the nerd weeds, but real quick, what they were doing is the Nazi Party from Germany was funneling money to members of Congress and senators to pay for their mail programs, meaning their US mail programs where they advertise themselves. They were sending them money to do advertising on these fascist ideas. And they were making pretty good headway. It was scary. So every time we think that this is the worst time ever, we had a worse time of it probably in the 30s and a worse time right before the Civil War. So this is super bad, guys, and we're on it. And we can't stop, and we got to keep playing pressure. But you're right. The civil shirts were they had a California contingent, Midwest, like 5 states, and then DC, and the money funneled through DC.
What was the guy who founded that? William Dudley Pilley, right?
Maybe you might be, I can't remember. You might know better than I do. I don't remember the name.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, all of it. And they had part of the DOJ on it. They had members of Congress in it. They had folks that were in the Inspector General's office. I mean, it was bad.
And the important thing that most people don't realize is they were openly anti-Semitic. Okay, they admired Hitler and Mussolini.
Horrifying. I'll tell you, my husband and I went to see Nuremberg last night, and we were both I was, and I get really weepy with these things. I start to cry in movies. I'm like when I can't even watch Schindler's List. I can't I turned to him. My husband is Jewish, just as a matter of fact. And I said, how did that make you feel? And he said, well, this is my whole life, honey. This is how it always is. Right. And it struck me, and I said, but I totally know that. And obviously I'm with him every step of the way, but I said, but today given today's environment, he's like, how, Jews say never again. Well, he said, I think it'll happen again. I do. He said, I just have to tell you, I think these people are doing it to Black and brown people right now, and the Jews are next. And I was like, I don't disagree. I don't. So this is why I am no longer being sunshiny or euphemistic about anything.
And that is something that I think it all starts off with, again, Marie, going back to the basics, electing the right people to represent us at the local level, at the state level, and at the national level. Okay. I think that's where folks, we need to pay attention when they say that elections are coming up. We just brush it away. It's like, they come every other year or so, we have elections. Those elections have consequences.
Yep.
People that we support, that we elect, they actually can be the bulwark against this fascism that we are experiencing right now.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we are really not invested in this. We had to fight for our freedoms. We had to fight to get the right to vote. And once we got it, we are not being responsible about it. And that is something that really, really, ticks me off, is why aren't more people coming out to at least elect the right people? The average voter turnout sucks.
Oh, gosh.
And I think
I live in an area in Cook County where in the last 2 primary elections, only 10% of the voting electorate has voted. It's disgusting. I just tell people all the time, I said, you get what you pay for, folks, and you get what you vote for.
And so, Marie, how do we address it? We've got about 8 minutes to finish off the show today, and that is something that I want to leave people with of today's show. How do we light a fire under people? Okay, the economy is going to the dogs, and our liar in chief said the other day that 300 million Americans died of drug overdoses. We have a total population of 350 million. So I don't know, what world he lives in, but the guy lies every time he opens his mouth. And so how do we light a fire under people to please wake up, register to vote? And if you are registered to vote, damn it, go out and vote.
That's right. That's right. Well, and that is it. And honestly, it's quantitatively what we have learned over the last 20 years. It's much easier to get people registered to vote. Getting them to actually then vote is a much harder piece of it. So while I applaud these organizations that get people to register for it, we do have to, I would love to see a mass media campaign that involved all of the, the Brosphere and all the podcasts where we really encourage people to vote if you want to unrig the economy. Because what we do know of the last 250 years of this country is that when we talk about the economy, people listen, right? only. So
Yeah.
if you want an unrigged economy where you actually can get ahead a little bit, right? I did a graphic this week in one of my social posts that identified 50% of this country struggles every week to pay their bills. It hasn't, that's higher by a factor of 20% from 2002.
And it's probably higher, Marie. It's
Yeah,
probably
no,
higher.
I think it's true. Well, it's 60% of the nation lives paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah,
So
and it's not so much how much money you make. Okay. If you may be making a lot of money, but then your expenses are so high.
well, when we have price gouging in every category, I mean, I'll start with pharmaceuticals because that's my favorite punching
Oh,
bag.
yeah.
Just so you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like literally, if you are a CEO of a pharmaceutical company, you're going to get your head bit off.
And then we have got candidates running for office who are collecting millions of dollars.
Oh.
Okay, in the Senate race now that is going on, Raja Krishnamurthy has he has spent about almost $14 million right off the gate in the primary election so far. None of the other candidates have advertised as much as he has. And he's always coming in with these kind of ads going on. I was looking at almost $14 million has already been spent on advertising by him. Okay. Where's the money coming from? Okay. If someone is giving you that kind of money, what is the quid pro quo on that one thing? That is something that I want to ask folks when you go vote.
Yeah, I mean, back to our original question, which is, how do we get people out there? Is if people could understand that the reason we have money in politics is all the
Yep.
voters, have allowed it. We have a lot more power than we think we do. Like, look, look what we did. This is a more frivolous thing, but look what we did for Jimmy Kimmel. Wow, we all stood up and said no.
Yeah.
So why didn't we do that for Letitia James? Why didn't we do that for all of these women that have been attacked? Fannie Willis and so I'm kind of like, okay, you know what? Like, let's put our money and our actions in our mouths, right? Like, let's just start fighting for everybody when there's a good fight like that, right? Now Letitia James figured it out because she's an amazing attorney and she's a rock star. But like, I will just tell you, like, I was angry when, okay, Jimmy got this big outcry and it worked.
Yeah.
But we're not doing that for everybody. We should be doing that for all of these people that, and particularly public servants who are serving us and don't make a gazillion dollars. And God bless Jimmy. I love Jimmy. Like, I'm not mad at Jimmy, but look, we should be doing it for everybody. So my point is that look how much power we have. We got one of the Fortune 50 companies to turn around a decision inside of 11 days. So we are freaking powerful. So be powerful, folks, and use your vote.
And that is something that, again, folks, I want to leave you with, that we say it is a government of the people, by the people, for the people, and we are the people. So let's make sure that we get the word out on that. Please get involved locally. You don't have to look at the national politics. At least get involved locally with your local village board, with your local, city administrations. Get your foot in the door.
It is everywhere. Yeah, you're right. Like, and folks, vote in all of these municipal elections. We have municipal elections here in Illinois next year. Vote in those municipal elections, and then in 2027 we have it again. But vote for all of these down ballot races because those are your next leaders. It's like think of it as the farm team, like in whatever the Cubs are in Iowa. I don't even know what their name is, but they're those folks, right?
And vote and think of running for office. I would love for people, more and more people. It doesn't matter if there's, what Junaid said was 8 people in the primary now in the 8th district.
It
doesn't matter if there's 8, if there is 80.
Yeah.
Get your foot in the door over there. Okay, at least express. Maybe that will bring in your friends, your family to the voting booth because you are involved in it. It does not take $1 zillion to run. Okay, you don't have to have $1 million in the bank to file for office.
Yeah,
you can file for office for free, folks. Just get a few folks to sign your petitions for local office. Sometimes you need like 50 signatures or less.
I know, yeah. Local office is much easier, and it's a good way to put your toe in, right? To see if you like it, because it's not for everybody. It's a rough business. And that's what I have a pamphlet that I give candidates that come to me. They're thinking about it. I said, I want you to go through this exercise and understand what it does to your family, what it does to your thinking, what it does to the people around you, and then understand what it does to you in a very selfish way, because it does consume you and it changes how you think about things. It changes your central nervous system. It does. So think about it before you do it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, folks. It's 9:59. We'll be winding up the show today. You've been listening to The Lightning Strike. We come every Sunday morning from 8 to 10 on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk radio station. I'm your host, Mohammed Fahim. Joining me on the show today is Dr. Sheila White, former Congresswoman Marie Newman. Maria Muzaffar could not join us today. She is traveling. Read Bible is not feeling well. Adriana and Dolly Silverberg are preparing for their exams. Okay. Yeah. And we had Stephanie Kifowit join us. She's running for comptroller for the state of Illinois. And our person of the week was Yolanda, who is, what is it, Yolanda again?
She's an author and a speaker as well. Author Barajas. She is the author of the book Life in the ING, in the ing. And so it's an awesome book.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week, same place, same time. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Sheila. We'll be back again with the Lightning Strike, folks. Meanwhile, you can go to our website, TLS for the Lightning
The preceding program, The Lightning Strike, was sponsored by Mohammed Fahim and to the extent applicable their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of Heartland Signal, LLC, or its management.